Welcome to the last session of Calendar, where we dig down into some of the keyboard shortcuts, and then we also take a look at the last few settings underneath the hood here. So let's take a look at the keyboard shortcuts first. And like I promised in the last video, these shortcuts are actually more useful than the Gmail ones as far as I'm concerned. Someone may argue with me, I'm sure, but you can see right here are the list of the different shortcuts. If you want to go to a previous range or date, you can even jump ahead or refresh your page much like you can just refreshing a web page. You can jump to today even without hitting the today button by hitting the letter T. You can also create event with the letter C. You can even jump down here and do the quick entry or the quick add by hitting the letter Q. Much like the Gmail shortcut, you can do the / and get it up into the search. And those are some of the basics. I'm going to show you how they work here in just a second. So if I want to do a entry, I hit the letter C, and there's an entry. I can put in anything that I want that I stereotypically could from within the same function of tapping the calendar and then adding edit event right here. I can also do the letter Q and do the quick add up from up here, which is extremely nice. And I'll go back here, do the last one right here, which is that search piece. Begin to search up here. And just a quick reminder, you can certainly drill down here and start filling in any of these fields to search as well. Keyboard shortcuts are found on this page right here, and you can scroll down through them, figure out exactly the ones that you want to use, or maybe you just want to go turn the shortcuts off because maybe they bother you here as well. Now let's get over to the settings. There's two last labels up here that I want to plug away at. First one is mobile setup. Realistically, if you have a smartphone and you sync up your Google Calendar, there's no real need for this top half right here. But if you have a standard cell phone and you don't have Google Calendars installed, if you want to set your mobile phone up so that you get text message or SMS notifications, you can do that right here for certain calendar events. In other words, when something's coming up on your calendar, you'd get a text message reminder about it. That's really what this portion is for. But if you have a smartphone, ignore it. Move on to labs, and we're going to end here with labs. There's only a couple of labs again that I'm going to recommend. The rest of them you can scrub through and decide for yourselves whether or not they seem useful or not. The first one that I'm not going to necessarily recommend but I think is a little bit fun is the event flare. I'm going to enable that one. Another great one is this event attachment, so you can add attachments straight to your events. This one I think is not necessarily a must-have, but it sure is nice. That's this year-long view. You enable this, and it gives you that year-long snapshot all at one time, which is extremely nice. I also like the jump to a date. It takes some of the button clicking away from having to get to the exact date that you're looking for in a certain calendar year, even many years out. And then if you're traveling, the very last one down here would be you can enable the world clock, which is pretty clever. I'm going to make sure that all those are enabled, hit save down here at the bottom, and you're going to notice all of them are added to this panel over here. This panel is the same place where you saw your task list. When you turn your tasks on over here, if you access them, notice the tasks actually populate that whole area, but I can kill my tasks from up here at the top. And now these new panels are actually responsible for some of those pieces that I was just showing you, some of those lab plugins. I'm going to show you how they work. The first one, the easiest one right here, is the year to view. All you have to do is pick which year you want to view, 2015, hit go, and it loads that entire year calendar. It's extremely nice. It even lets you now jump to all previous and future years. You can jump back and forth this way, and each of the days is actually clickable. So February 2014, I can click on the 11th. There I have myself. Lincoln's birthday is on the 12th, February 2014. World clock right here needs nearly no explanation. It just lists the different places around the globe and what time it is. And under settings right here, you can actually pick different places from around the globe to add to your list. And when you're done, you go to the bottom, you hit save, and that new place, Budapest, is actually added to my list. Get rid of that by Xing out of it. Then there's the jump to a date. This is a lot like that year-long calendar, except for you can pick just a single date within that year. So 2024, jump to that date. There we go, 2024. August the 16th. One tiny problem persists now. Now that I X'd out of all of those labs, they are disabled. I have to go enable them again. So instead of doing that, let me show you the best way to hide labs. So I'm going back to labs, and I'm going to take a shortcut here, this little labs shot out, and I'm going to make sure that I enable my year view, my jump to date, and my world clock. Save those, and there they are in that panel again. Instead of Xing out of them, which disables them, just hit this tiny little arrow right here, which tucks it neatly off to the side and lets you freely use your calendar. And if you ever want to access it again, you hit that same little arrow and that panel hops back out so that you can take a look at your year-long view or jump to a date. It's that easy. Labs are that sophisticated but simple. And that's the end of Google Calendars.